Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Robbie and I are live here to discuss the news that has just broken, which is that the Arsenal PSV game, Europa League, would have been our second game of the Europa League group stage, has been called off, postponed. We actually know very little other than that it's not happening this Thursday, and updates are coming through, so we will be hopefully bringing those to you live now on the show. But this is really disappointing, isn't it, Robbie?
Very disappointing. Hasn't been announced yet on Arsenal's website, so we're just waiting for them to post something. But listen, it's definitely been postponed. And the reasons that's being given at the moment is the police are not going to be able to have the resources to properly police the game. So, that's why it's been cancelled. It also puts into doubt Arsenal's game at the weekend, which of course is against Brentford, which is in London. And obviously the reasons why this is all happening is because the Queen, as we know, the Queen of England, sadly passed away last week Thursday. It was actually, funny enough, when it happened during an Arsenal game.
Yeah, Arsenal, half time in the
news
game,
broke. Yeah, the news broke just as the game began over there in Zurich, and then remember they had that half-time, minute silence, and so this is now sort of like a knock-on from that. There was no games at the weekend, we know, because the Premier League decided that we shouldn't have any games, and that sort of divided opinion, because there were a lot of people who felt that games should go ahead.
There are a lot of sports that did go ahead.
Yeah, because loads of different, rugby went ahead, cricket went ahead,
golf,
horse racing, golf,
yeah.
But this one is almost like a different circumstance now, because basically the police are saying we do not have enough resources to police the game. And I was saying to you earlier, I was down, it was my birthday at the weekend, I was down the West End. I was down there yesterday, and I've never seen so many police. I mean, there were coach loads of police everywhere. And I was like, wow. And they've obviously brought in police from all over the country. And that's just now. So when I saw that, I was always a bit worried. I was thinking, funeral next week, Monday. I wasn't even thinking the PSV game. I was thinking, funeral next week, Monday. Are they going to have enough police to police these football games? Well, I think we've got our answers with the first one. The game is off. The
game is off, and I think where Arsenal fans and a lot of fans are feeling frustrated is it's not just... They're not saying, right, that's it, all European games in England won't go ahead this week. And they've not even actually gone ahead and cancelled all Premier League games this week. It seems to be about where it's a logistical thing. Basically saying that they can't get the policing for Thursday night, and that London games on the weekend could be in doubt as well. So we'll have a little look at that in a sec. But it's frustrating for Arsenal fans, because where I can't comment is I obviously don't work for the police, and I can't imagine what organising it must be like. And I've got no doubt they wouldn't have made this decision if there was any way they could have made it go ahead. But are there other solutions? Could this game have been played behind closed doors? But then you get the whole, fans have their tickets, so you'd have to refund them.
What about reversing the fixture?
Yeah,
that's the thing that immediately came to mind for me.
So Riley said, play at PSV.
Yeah, play at PSV, and then when we were supposed to play at PSV later on in the calendar, we then reverse it and we play at the Emirates.
But isn't that everything we complained about with the weekend's games being cancelled? People have flights booked, people have accommodation, people would already have planned their trips time.
But then at least it's the same the other way around, because the poor PSV fans, and
that's a good point.
They would have bought loads of fans, and that could be another reason why the police didn't want to put it on. All of their tickets, they've all bought. When you're booking a European, I mean, I tried to book the Zurich game last week, and I had no end of issues. That's why in the end I didn't end up going, because it was to get there was just so difficult. But this is why football fans, when there's games in Europe, they book them well in advance.
Yeah.
So I was looking to book the PSV game for when it's going to happen, which is at the end of October from now. So those PSV fans, no one, they're all booked up already.
Yeah,
there's no one who's probably today saying, let me try and see if I can get a ticket to go to Arsenal PSV. They would have got their ticket already. all right, they'll get refunded for that. But they would have done their flights, they would have done their hotels, stuff like that. That's all, and they won't get the money back for that. That'll be all cancelled. So it was the same both ways. So why not try and reverse the fixture? Would have been a solution to maybe get through it. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess maybe a lot of it's too late. But
I'm aware I'm commenting on something I don't know anything about, but you know, the obvious questions are: well, why you say Chelsea's is a home game on Wednesday?
Chelsea's a home game on Tuesday. I think it's tomorrow night. I think.
Okay.
And Ashai says that how is the Chelsea Champions League game still on?
I think we are right to ask that question. People will say, okay, well, it's 2 days later, the Arsenal game, and it's closer to the weekend and the funeral, all that. But, you wouldn't think 2 days would make that much difference. Well, I mean, again, I have no idea what I'm talking about, so I don't know. But I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes. And also, why, I mean, okay, it's Monday, it's a good 3 days in advance, but it feels like it's taken a while to find out. Basically, we're kind of being drip-fed info day by day by day, from the one cancellation to even know if this weekend's going ahead. Now we found out PSV isn't. When will all these games be played? We'll talk about it from an Arsenal perspective in a sec. But fans are right to feel frustrated about, all these things coming to a complete halt.
It's very, very frustrating. And do you know what? I also look at it and say to myself, at a really, really sad time, and this is my perspective on it, and I know there'll be many different people thinking on it, but at a really, really sad time in, losing the Queen, wouldn't it be something to get, after a whole weekend since Thursday of just pure sadness, it would have been nice to return back to football, pay a great tribute to the Queen, and something to kind of uplift us a little bit, because it is very doom and gloom at the moment in the UK because of what happened with the Queen. And now we're facing the prospect of no Arsenal game until we play Tottenham after the international break. It's a long time. That'd be like nearly 3-4 weeks without any football.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
It's a bit like, do you know the funny thing is, I was chatting to a friend of mine, and we were discussing this, the cancellation of football on the weekend. And personally, I feel that the football authorities got that wrong. I think we should have had the games and again sent our great tributes, just like they did in all the other sports. But remember, when there was COVID on, one of the reasons why the government were keen for football to go on was because of that, weren't they? They were saying, because of people's well-being and mental health and stuff like that, to have sport going on and football going on, and all right, it might be behind closed doors, but to have that continue on is something that is good for the nation. And, they put the footballers at risk because they still had to go and play. And I'm just saying that in this one, this might have led to a sort of a little bit of a feel-good factor, and also being able to lead to us being able to celebrate the life of the Queen by having some great tributes at these games. So, but yeah, I think this one is a little bit different this weekend. If they've got no police to police it,
yeah, what can you do?
What can you do?
Yeah, let's talk about it from the Arsenal perspective, because there's going to be a fixture pile-up. But actually, before that, I'm actually more concerned about, and again, this is very much just from the footballing perspective. We're aware of what's gone on. It's more that now Arsenal will go into that North London derby without having played for 3 weeks, I think it will be.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Brentford will go ahead on the weekend.
Tottenham's game may go ahead as well.
Who are they set to play?
They're playing, I think it's Salzburg, or I forget who they're playing.
So Tottenham have...
they're playing in the Champions League, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they got Sporting away, and then they got Leicester.
Yeah, Sporting away. So
they got Leicester at home. So could Spurs' game
Sporting will go ahead, isn't it? Because that's
Sporting
abroad.
will go ahead, but could Leicester really go ahead this weekend?
Well, I don't know. You see, that's the thing now. We don't know what's going to happen with, there's been this rumour, since we came in this morning, that the London games might all get cancelled.
Yeah.
Because of, what's going on. So, but they're going to get to play. Is it tonight they're playing? Sorry, tomorrow night.
Oh, let me see.
I think Chelsea are playing tomorrow night, aren't they? Chelsea
Tomorrow.
are playing on Tuesday, and Tottenham.
Tottenham are tomorrow night.
Tottenham are tomorrow night.
Let's have a little look at Chelsea. Because someone in the comments said it was tomorrow, so let me just check. Why won't it just tell me? Tomorrow as well.
Tomorrow as well. So
Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah. So they're playing.
Sorry, Wednesday. Sorry.
Oh, they're playing on Wednesday. Okay.
I'm getting my days mixed up.
Yeah, they probably might get a sort of extra game in before we do, but it could be that we ain't going to get to play any more games now until we play Tottenham. Because I'm really looking at it and thinking, if they cancel this PSV game, how the hell are they going to make the game going at the weekend? Because you think about it, on the weekend, the Queen's funeral's on Monday, right? There's going to be dignitaries flying in from all over the world for this funeral. Biden's coming from the US, yeah? I remember we used to have the studio before that, which was down near Trafalgar Square. I remember when Trump came to the UK, the security alone just for the American president was unreal. The police, the motorcades and stuff. Now you times that by, gosh, dignitary after dignitary is going to come in, because you're going to have the Prime Minister, you're going to have the President of the United States, you're going to have the leader of Canada, you're going to have Macron from France, you're going to have Germany, dignitaries from everywhere, from the Middle East, they're going to be coming in from all over the world, and they have to be protected because the terrorist threat, as we know, is always very real. So they're going to have to be protected. The people have to be protected, searched. I mean, it's going to be an unbelievably massive operation, and a lot of that will be at the Heights on Sunday. So how are we going to play against Brentford? I just can't see that game going ahead either.
No,
I'll be surprised.
I don't think Arsenal will kick a ball till Tottenham. So okay, so this is the challenge that Arteta faces. How does he approach this now? Because on a footballing level, we know Arsenal have had a few injuries. Okay, well they'll probably be back for those games now, so there's that. However, they won't have kicked a ball till the North London derby. Listen, I don't think Tottenham will exactly be going into that game feeling particularly fresh. We know some key players like the three Gabriels aren't going on international duty. Could we see Arteta maybe resort to his old trick of behind closed doors friendlies? I mean, I could see him getting in touch with whoever else has a game cancelled this weekend. You know, maybe Brentford, and saying, listen, try to kick about a corner for 90 minutes just to get some minutes in the legs.
Definitely, definitely going to have to play some behind the closed doors friendlies, and because it's unprecedented. It's in a season that's already congested now. The funny thing about it is that when they would have been planning this season, they'd be like, "Wow, we've got to fit as many games in as we possibly can before the World Cup."
It's crazy, isn't it?
And now they're going a period of about probably could be 3 weeks without a game. It's crazy.
So I'm having a little look at Arsenal's schedule at the moment. Tottenham at home, then they got Bodo Glimt at home, then they got Liverpool at home. Okay, that's nice, 3 home games. Bodo Glimt the week after, then Leeds on a Sunday, then City on the Wednesday, so that midweek's not available, then Southampton on a Sunday, then PSV on a Thursday, Forest on a Sunday, Zurich on a Thursday. Basically, okay, there's a gap in between Chelsea away on Saturday, November 5th, and Wolves away Saturday, November 12th. That might be when they look at it. They might have to
squeeze a game then.
They might have to move the Wolves game to Sunday and play.
Yeah, but then that's the week when, you know, they're sort of preparing for players to go. That's probably why they didn't want to have a game during that week, but they might have to squeeze something in there.
They might have to
but
put
again,
it,
you know, I don't think Gareth Southgate, the England manager, will be too, and managers of other clubs around the world, remember, it's not just, they're going to be too thrilled with an extra game being squeezed in there just before the World Cup.
Well, you know, they're going to have to live with it, quite frankly, because, you know, club football ends by the end of that weekend. There's a space there.
Yep.
I think we're looking at November the 8th or 9th, maybe.
I'll tell you what, you see, next year is going to be really congested. They're going to have to, and the other thing is that Europa League game, they have to fit it in somewhere there, because those games got to be played before the World Cup break. By the way, there's a statement now on Arsenal's website. They took their time, but it is on there. They did. I mean, everybody else is reporting it before them. It's a bit strange there, but
true.
it says our UEFA Europa League home fixture against PSV Eindhoven, scheduled for Thursday the 15th of September, has been postponed. The postponement follows liaison between UEFA, the Metropolitan Police and ourselves after the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. We are working with the authorities to reschedule the match, and any tickets, including those purchased via the ticket exchange or received via ticket transfer and or hospitality packages purchased for this fixture, will be valid for the rescheduled date. For any season ticket holder who have sold their ticket via ticket exchange or transferred their ticket via ticket exchange, your ticket will remain inactive for the rescheduled date. Further updates, including information about forthcoming matches, will be shared on arsenal.com. So no talk about the weekend's game, and then they go on to say, we apologise for any inconvenience this has caused and share our thanks for your support and understanding, Arsenal Football Club. There'll be a lot of PSV fans probably really upset because, as I said, if you booked a flight, if you booked hotels, you know, that's gone. You know, you're not going to get a refund for those.
No. Well, I don't know what insurance is in place. I don't know what UEFA can do about it. I've no idea. You know,
they won't. You know, you book an individual flight. That's down to you.
That's it. Yeah, that's ultimately what I'll say. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm looking at that week in November as the time it could be rescheduled, and I do think. I remember when games were sort of being postponed during the pandemic, and obviously that was a very serious time as well. And I think again, when you're looking at it from a footballing perspective, you're thinking, well, what more's to come? How many more will be postponed or whatever? I think, obviously what's happened is very sad, and they just got to kind of get through this week. And obviously it's going to be a very, very busy week, as you mentioned, for the police and, everything, going on in the country. And then you come through the international break. Be very interesting to see what they do with the international break. I mean, it'll go ahead, but I just mean, England are playing. You'd think that's an opportunity for a tribute as well. And then you come back, and then it's about it being again very tight. As I mentioned, I couldn't find a single week where there weren't two games between that return on October the 1st and November the 12th. So that is 6-7 straight weeks of 2 games a week, and. Arteta's got to say to you, we've got to get through this month. And then, some will go to the World Cup, some won't. Back Monday, December the 26th on Boxing Day, then the January window opens. It's going to be very, very tight. There's a lot of football to be played. And there's no way they're going to get those Premier League games rearranged before the new year. So then you're looking at January again, and I'm scrolling through. There's a 12-day gap between Newcastle at home and Tottenham away, so maybe there's a chance there.
But you might have FA Cup games there.
Oh my God, I forgot about the FA Cup.
FA Cup games there to be slotted in.
Yeah.
The EFL Cup starts.
When's that Brighton game?
It's the other thing is as well is the Chelsea game then on Wednesday night against Salzburg. Is that going to go ahead? That's what I'm going to be interested to see as well, because surely that gets cancelled as well, doesn't it?
Well, you'd think, but they're not saying anything. So
they haven't said nothing about that Chelsea game. And I mean, I know there was this talk on Sunday from the police about, there's 3,000 Eindhoven fans due to travel over.
Yeah.
But if that was the case, then why not then say, well, sorry, Eindhoven fans, you can't attend the game? I don't know. Instead of cancelling it.
I think talking to a colleague, they're saying if they played the game but without PSV fans, Arsenal fans wouldn't have been able to do the reverse trip to keep it fair.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair. By the way, it wasn't on the website for some strange reason, but in that gap I found between Chelsea and Wolves is actually meant to be the Arsenal-Brighton home game.
There you go, EFL Cup. So to fit all these games in,
I'll tell you what, Douglas Luiz's transfer fee's gone up an extra 20 million, hasn't it? If you want Douglas Luiz now, it doesn't matter when his contract's running out.
It's crazy.
They know you need him. This is okay. So So, okay, I asked this question earlier, but let's revisit it. What does Arteta do now? Because he has got to... This is. I don't know if I've ever known anything like it. He's got to keep them somehow sharp and match ready for when Tottenham comes, but then make sure they're not overly exerting themselves, because that month is crunch time.
Do you maybe go away on some warm weather training or something like that, just to keep the players in fresh as well? I mean, it's an unprecedented situation.
I can't see them flying them off.
It's an unprecedented situation, but right now, as it stands, we would have played one game in September.
Dale says James is just as confused as us. I am. I don't have a clue what's going on.
We'd have played one game in September, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And we're only going to play one game in September now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One game.
Mm-hmm. After 5 in August, and remember, normally August is normally kind of 3 before an international break. So 5 in August, 1 in September. So let me just count how many games it will be then. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the 13th Brighton. So 13 games between October the 1st and November the 12th. Yeah,
and then you've got to get that. I think the only thing that I can think... But how are you going to do that? Because there's a Europa League game on every week from now until that date you just said.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, well, you're going to have to play that Europa League game on the same night as a Champions League night, which we've seen them do before, and just play it early or something like that. But how are they going to do that?
You know what they've done before, and I think I mentioned this in the last live we were on, is when Man United were made to play 2 league games, one of them being Liverpool at home, because they had to get them in before the end of that final game during the pandemic season. So there's a chance that Wolves is moved to Sunday, the 13th, and then they play Tuesday night Brighton, Thursday night Europa League, Sunday Wolves. I think they might do that.
But when do we play PSV on the return leg?
That will stay where it is. So October the 27th.
So that'd be like about a week before.
That would be about a week.
And then a week later we play them again.
Yeah.
But then we got to play Zurich.
Then Zurich. So then in between Chelsea and Wolves, I think they'll squeeze in Brighton and PSV. Unless there's a way, because when does the Europa League return? It's normally around February, March, isn't it? So unless there's a way they can get them playing very early in January. Very early.
No, but it all has to be done and dusted before they go to the World Cup.
Well, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay.
Let's get a few super chats here. Ashai says, just cancel London Premier League games now. Stop wasting time. And I think if they are going to cancel them, they need to let people know from early what's going to happen, so that people can make because even for the game at the weekend, Arsenal fans, Brentford fans, they'll be looking, preparations for that game. You don't just go to a game overnight. So I think they do need to let everybody know early what's going on. And I guess with this PSV game, they have as early as they possibly can, because today is Monday. Leon Stevens says, stop blaming the royal family. Blame it on over a decade of Tory rule for cutting so many police. Well, we don't want to get into politics here, but it's an unprecedented situation that we face with this funeral. As I said, people have got to come in from all over the world, dignitaries, and they're going to have police to look after them. Not to mention people in general coming to London from all over the country, from Scotland, from Wales, from all over the world for this funeral. It's going to be absolutely huge. Yeah. Ashai says cancelling last week is even more idiotic now. Now, I did say I'm not even trying to be wise after the event. I think I did a show on Saturday and I said I think it would have been better to have played the games the weekend just gone and cancelled next week, because there's going to be policing issues. I said it on that show. Now, basically, we're going to have 2 weeks by the looks of how it's starting to pan out. Mm-hmm. So he could be right there. RCG22190 says, where are they fitting in these 2 potential games in? Well, you've seen James there trying to see where he can shoehorn it in, and that's a problem.
Trying to,
Ashai says, side note, but what is the military for? Use them. Well, there was, again, when we did the Bias Premier League show, I think it was Yardi who was suggesting, why not, use the military as well? But military policing is slightly different to policing everyday things, you know what I mean? The police have a particular skill in doing that. So, Malachi says, can't we just go and play at PSV? Well, obviously not, because I'm sure they would have considered that as an option. But, I mean, I thought, why not do that as well? But Bilal says, only solution is to cancel the international break. They're not going to do that. See, the problem with these things as well is that we've got to remember this, yeah? We are discussing the Premier League. No other leagues, Serie A, Ligue 1, the Bundesliga, they're all going on as normal. It's not their queen, right? This is a particular thing that has happened here in the UK. So when the international break comes, they would have fulfilled all their games that they're supposed to play. And they want to send their players off the international break. And plus as well, international football is a different governing body. It's FIFA, not the Premier League. And quite frankly, FIFA won't care about the fact that the Premier League has got a congestion of games. They just care about their tournament, which is, the World Cup.
Some people are suggesting in the comments just extending the season. And actually... You might have to. You might find that those Everton and Brentford games get played as literally match week 36, so 37 and 38.
Throws the whole season off, though, doesn't it? It really does.
Well, maybe, but it's so tight that there might be no other. The other thing they'll look out for is things like if Arsenal. I mean, and you bloody hope they don't. But if Arsenal and Brentford were to get knocked out of the FA Cup early, then they'd take one of those FA Cup weekend slots. So. It will open up at times, but it's all, yeah.
Troops here saying that the whole thing is pure stupidness, is what he's saying. Black Shadow Monkey says, as a Bayern fan, I think this is where the Arsenal season goes downhill. More congested game, more injuries. With Arsenal's squad problems, I think you guys are screwed. Thank you very much. Could be a chance for some of the injured players to get back, like a Thomas Partey and that. Anthony TO1993 says foreign friendlies like Portugal and Sweden, etc. Quick response says, Robbie suggesting we all sing the national anthem at the Emirates is really ignorant. Lots of our fans descend from former colonies, and that song is offensive. Well, listen, I'm sure if we are asked this, and what they would do, they play the national anthem. If you don't want to sing it, you don't have to. But I think for the passing of the Queen, I think the majority of the stadium would sing that up and down the country. I don't think it would be an issue in this circumstance. No, this guy, I'm just trying to see if I can read this. And he says the national anthem isn't offensive, says F. And he says, trash Tottenham have no Paul. And Mark T said, I've missed football so badly. Hashtag Arsenal. A lot of people missing the football.
Yeah.
We know it's an exceptional circumstance here. But there's a balance as well. There's a life balance.
Yeah. I appreciate there are more important things going on. And also, I would always vouch for any football that can be played to be played. I want to make it clear that's my position on things. But on a sporting level, and I'm aware that things get postponed all the time or whatever, but it doesn't feel massively fair to the teams, let's say London clubs that have their games postponed and then sort of the others around the country go on. And by the way, I'd like them to go on. I want to watch football and I want people to be able to have that in their lives. But there's that sense of it as well. It's interesting that they're going kind of game by game, case by case, and not looking at it as football as a collective anymore. Whereas last week was more about a message and a tribute and out of respect. This one's very much a logistical thing.
It's a logistical thing, and the circumstances are different here.
Yeah.
Last season, last weekend, the Premier League had a decision to make to play the games or not. The decision was laid with the Premier League. They decided to cancel the whole weekends, grassroots football, everything went. This weekend, it looks like it kind of out of their hands. Because at the end of the day, if the police turn around and say, listen, we can't police your event, you can't do the event. It's simple as that.
And these things,
because these events can't take place without police.
I do want to, policing and security and all these things, they're very serious things. I know sort of, some people might sort of think, so what? It's just, why can't it go ahead? This is ridiculous, whatever. I'm not saying it's not. Again, I don't have the info. But what I would say is that security and policing is a very serious thing. Football fans are amazing, but it's a collection of a lot of people. You want to make sure people can go to the football and feel safe and feel looked after and feel there's help there if needed. And that isn't just, in terms of violence or whatever. That's getting places. That's knowing what to do. That's everything running smoothly. So it's a very important and serious thing. Why we're in a situation where it can't be done, then we can look into that in other ways. But
in everything, safety comes first.
Yeah.
And this is a safety issue. And that's why they're saying the game can't go ahead. It's really, really disappointing, though, as an Arsenal fan, because no game at the week, there'd have been 3 games where, if they postpone the weekend's games, where there'll be, no football.
I think they're going to have to get quite creative now. When you look at that schedule, it's very tight. Now, if there's one positive about having the World Cup in the middle of the season, from a scheduling perspective, is that you don't have it at the end. So actually, there is really no reason. Last year, they made them play 4 ridiculous international games. So there's actually no reason why they couldn't all come together, a lot of the tickets won't have been sold for games January onwards, look to almost rejig the schedule a little bit, make room for the Premier League games that are postponed, make room for... So, for example, we've got to play Wolves and Chelsea at the end of this run before the World Cup starts. But is there a rule that says Arsenal, PSV couldn't be... Okay, PSV have their league, don't get me wrong, there's other things.
That's the thing, James, is
they're going to have to get clever.
All consideration with these things. Let's not... We got to remember and remind ourselves of this, right, is that this is a European game.
Yeah.
PSV, they don't really give a toss about the Premier League. Their league is the is the Eredivisie, and they care about their league, and they're not going to go and start doing stuff to help us out.
True. The Carabao Cup could be postponed.
Yeah, we're the ones who've cancelled the game. So any solution that needs to be found our end.
But that's it. Absolutely, it's got to be found our end. But as a league working together, we all know that when these decisions are made, the clubs come together as well. I think they can discuss. I wish I could remember who put it in the comment section, but I think they could discuss extending the schedule a little bit, rejigging the start of the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and just making them, because it's crazy. I've never known a schedule like it. I mean, and I know we had Project Restart, but that was again after months. And as you said, it was right that they brought football back and all these things. But this, for just a regular season, and we're looking at, I say regular, but we're looking at the 38-game league season plus 3 competitions if you're in Europe. That is really heavy. I think they have to get creative. I wouldn't be surprised if 5 or 6 games are moved around just to fit everything. I don't think it'll be a case of picking a date and chucking it in.
When Cecil says, big up Cecil, he says, when is football return is the real question. Schedule is mad and the funeral is next week. The morning could extend. So when is this all going to return? Well, the morning's not going to extend, Cecil. I mean, the funeral will be on Monday, and then I guess after that, the mourning period is... Once the funeral is complete, the mourning period is completed, and then that week is an international break. That's the problem here, is that we've got 2 weeks of international break before we return. That is the big issue here. One solution that I saw some people suggest, and the more I think about it, couldn't that have been the solution, was to have played it behind. So somebody said it earlier, didn't they? And I was saying, well, no, because... But I'm just thinking about it. It could be just play it behind closed doors this week.
Let's imagine the announcement was Arsenal's game against PSV will be played behind closed doors due to policing issues. Everyone then would have said, why didn't you just reschedule it? We've got all these tickets that have been sold. People have planned... Well, okay, travel would have been affected anyway. But, people say, we've got tickets. We've got... we want to be at the game.
Yeah,
That's
just
not
to get
fair.
the game
Why does our
on, maybe
home
just to
game
get
have
the
be-
game. I'm just thinking of the congestion, the fixture pile-up for
But
Arsenal.
But this is where, imagine these people have come together to make these decisions, and that's why I see some people saying, "Stop complaining, stop blaming." I'm not complaining or blaming. We can be frustrated about the situation without be blaming anyone and understand why it's come about. But these people have come together to make these decisions. We have to thought of all these things: the fans and their financial commitments, what the clubs want on a pure sport, from pure sporting perspective and sporting merit. What can be fit in the dates. There's so many things to consider. It's not easy.
Behind closed doors at a neutral venue in the EU, says Reasonable Doubt. Because even at the weekend I was hearing now, like the Aviva Stadium in Dublin was on standby, and stadiums like that, where a game like this could have been played, even the weekend's games. Or do you just think that, I guess the football clubs will be like, well, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
That's a massive revenue that we're going to miss out on. We'd rather push it to... Yeah,
fans would be gutted. So we've got.
No, but
these
also
games,
the football clubs, the revenue.
Yeah,
the revenue that they'll miss out on. I mean, Arsenal, it was sold out, the PSV game. And we know that not all Europa League games are always sold out, and that was sold out. So I guess they don't want to be refunding people money back for that. They want to see if they can get it on at a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we've still got a lot to learn about all this. I think we said it when we did that show on Friday, didn't we? When we were talking about the Premier League being cancelled, and we alluded to the fact that there's going to be a little bit of a knock-on effect, and we're going to have to see where this all lines up for Arsenal. But I'm really, really anticipating now big changes to the schedule because you're either going to get that to accommodate it all fairly in a way that's actually safe for the players. I think sometimes people say, well, safety, are you crazy? They're just playing football. But, we hear it. I remember interviewing Dr. Rajpal Brar on this channel. And he said, this whole thing that managers complain about injuries and stuff, it's a serious thing. They're not saying it just to complain because they can't be bothered to get on their private jets. It's actually because player welfare, injuries and looking after them physically, that you can't. There's a reason we don't play Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tennis, for example, they'll play every 2 days, but it's managed in a way that works for them. You can't do that with football. The only time they've done it is really extreme circumstances. I'm going to have a little look at Man United's schedule because I'm convinced they had that. Yeah.
Dane Hennigan, by the way, says, need Arsenal for my mental health. Helps me get through my week. Just to remind everybody again, the message on Arsenal's website says our UEFA Europa League home fixture against PSV Eindhoven scheduled for Thursday the 15th of September has been postponed. The postponement follows liaison between UEFA, the Metropolitan Police and ourselves after the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And it goes on to say that, basically if you've bought a ticket for the game, that's still going to be valid for any any new date for the game.
I just want to actually say to Dane as well, thank you for your super chat and for supporting the channel. And I understand. I think a lot of people depend on football and sport as well. At the end of the week, a busy week, people work really hard, and it's a release for them, and it helps their mental health. And football will be back, and of course, we'll be doing stuff here, and we'll always be here to engage with you and everyone else who joins in. But thanks for the support. And Arsenal will be back, and the way they've been playing as well. We'll put smiles on our faces this season.
Had we have been near the bottom. We got up to the start that we got up to last season. I think there'd be a lot of people saying, yeah, it's all right. We'll come back after the international break. But the thing is, we've been flying as well. We've been playing well. And in our last home game, we had that defeat at Man United. The fans just want to see the team play. They want to see the team in action. We had who's really excited to see like Marquinhos and Fabio Vieira last year. I was looking forward to seeing them up against sort of better opposition in PSV at home. It's disappointing.
Robbie, I've got it here, and it's actually worse than I remember it. So Man United, get this, Man United had to play Roma on a Thursday night on the 6th of May. So then their Premier League game was against Villa on a Sunday, the 9th of May. 2 days later, they played Leicester at home, and then 2 days after that on the Thursday, they played Liverpool. So they played Sunday, Monday off, Tuesday, Wednesday off, Thursday. So they played 3 games in 5 days.
And they lost 2 out of those 3.
They lost both home games to Liverpool and Leicester. So there you go. And Liverpool at the time were chasing top 4. They got it by, I'm looking at it, they got it by 3 points, and they played an exhausted Man United team. It impacts these things. So I think we might get something like this. We might get Brighton, that's on a Wednesday, pushed to Tuesday, and then the Europa League snuck in on the Thursday, and Wolves moves to Sunday. They're going to have to get creative with it. They really are.
Can't see Thomas Partey playing those 3 games. Real Talk Barca says they will destroy football this season. Remember, the World Cup is already causing issues with schedules. Yeah.
Someone's asking, sorry, Sabaranath.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Could they play at another 6 stadium? I mean, okay, what would that involve? It would involve PSV fans, I suppose, being given transport from London to Manchester. It would have involved Arsenal fans being able to... I guess it could, but it wouldn't have been great. The clubs would have had to subsidise a lot of that.
And then the PSV fans that would travel would all land in London still, because they've got their flights. So the majority of them are going to land in London. And then you're going to have to... They'd be looking to go down, once in London, they want to go down to the West End, have a drink, blah, blah. That on top of all the people that's already going to be around, maybe the police is looking at it like it's just too chaotic. JJ says, do you sacrifice a cup and play the youth or under 23s to reserve the players?
When it gets congested?
Yeah.
I think you get through it as much as you can, and then you sign a load of players in January. I'm not even joking. I think if Cecil's put in the comments, Arteta won't be happy. He won't. But I think he's got to galvanise this group, get them all together and say, right, we're going to play, we're going to train when we can, we're going to play behind closed doors when we can. And then guys, we've seen his speeches on, when he gets everyone up for it on All or Nothing, he's got to get them together. He's got to say, give me 1 month. I know it's like 13 games, but give me 1 month of everything you got. And listen, a lot of players won't want to do that. They've got the World Cup and stuff. They want to protect themselves, all those things. But give me what you got for 1 month. We'll rotate what we can in the Europa, and then in January we'll have some incomings. And I think it's got to be a midfielder and a winger, and maybe 2 midfielders. I think they've got to recruit.
Yeah, it's gonna need to for the finish of the season. Let me see here. UK Unleashed says Arsenal weekend game will go ahead. A trusted source. I hope you're right. Well, when you think about that game, I mean, we're immediately saying, well, if it's a game in London, that's surely going to be cancelled. I guess the only thing
it's not confirmed
that could save that game is the fact that it's been playing at Brentford and it's not being played at Arsenal. At Arsenal, you've got 60,000 fans. Brentford what's Brentford's capacity? About 20,000. I
want to say that.
Yeah, about 20,000. So it's a lot of a smaller ground, a bit easier to police maybe.
17,000.
17,000. So smaller ground.
It's a lovely ground.
It is a lovely ground. Easier to police. It's not like there's hostilities between Arsenal and Brentford fans that would cause them having to need excess amount of police for that game. So you never know. That game could go.
Well, this is a very interesting update from Mark Mansbrine. Says Arsenal are expecting either the Premier League game against Man City on October the 19th or the Carabao Cup versus Brighton November the 8th or 9th to be moved to accommodate the rescheduled PSV fixture. Switching venues had been discussed, while hosting behind closed doors would still have required a certain level of policing. So, I mean, that's what I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back here. That's what I say. I think they're going to move.
Then where did you put that City one?
June.
To get into the top 4, we got to play Man City in June. Yeah, thank you.
That'll be good, won't it?
Joshua says, if Chelsea get to play on Wednesday, then for me it's a competition bias from UEFA. Also, Millwall face QPR on Wednesday as well, and that game is going ahead at the moment. But again, smaller capacity, easier to police. Blinker says, do you think we might end up having to concede 3 points in the Europa League like what Spurs had to do? I don't think so. Because this is an exceptional circumstance. So, the FA have said that all games are going to resume, by the way. So the FA have put out that all games are going to be resuming. So that means all grassroots football as well. Everything will be back on from straight away.
Well, I'm glad people get to play their football again. I found that strange, that kind of grassroots stopped and stuff. I mean, but yeah. Have a little look for the FA to see if find that.
Scott Williams says, I am aware of the pressure that British police have at this time, but surely they could have flipped the fixtures so we played Thursday. That's another one that I was saying earlier. Couldn't we have played in PSV? Couldn't we have played in Eindhoven? And then when we were supposed to play in Eindhoven at the end of, I think it's October, then they come here. But by that time, everything's settled down and,
I mean, I think it's one of those two wrongs don't make a right. I don't think you could have just compromised then the other fixture to make this one go ahead and whatever. I think the easier thing to do is go, right, take the L on this. This one's not going to happen for whatever reasons that we discussed. Let's just find the best way. And I know I'm talking about moving Premier League fixtures, but that's different. That's, you got to think about PSV as well. We said that. You said that. You're discussing with other leagues. At least when you're rearranging domestic fixtures, you're kind of in it together. I don't have to explain it. Like, you're all operating on the same league, the same footballing governance, and it's just easier to sort. And you're talking about travel changes within the country. You're talking, with this, it's flights. So if they played it in PSV, how would Arsenal fans get there essentially? And PSV might not have been ready to accommodate that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't think you can.
Tiger and Gouda simply says, rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth. And that's the reason why we're having all of this now, is because of the passing of the Queen. And I keep saying it, make no mistake, this is a huge, huge historical moment in this country. Whether you're a royalist, whether you're into the Queen or whether you're not into the Queen, whatever it is, and the royal family, whatever, you have to recognize that this is huge. That the woman who was the Queen of this country for 70 years, 70, has passed away.
Yeah.
And of course, it's going to be a huge moment. And as I said, for a funeral on Monday, there will be presidents and prime ministers and leaders of countries all over the world who will want to fly in to pay their respects to her. I think I've read somewhere where she visited over 200 countries in her lifetime, and was very well liked in the majority of those. So they're going to want to come in, those politicians, and send their respects. But when they come over, they have to be looked after by the police. They have to be protected. Then on top of that, you've got people from all over the country and all over the world that want to come in for the funeral. And it's not just a funeral, her body's going to lie in state. You got to police that. Now, I've seen some people in the comments like, oh, I don't care. That may be you, but I'm telling you that this is a major, major operation. I don't know, I was down near that area yesterday. I'd never seen so many police. And they're not going to want some sort of terrorist incident or anything to go down on top of a already really sad time. This is a real sensitive time and a really, really difficult thing to police. So we do have to recognise that. I know we all want Arsenal to play. We all want the Premier League, me included. I want to see Arsenal play. But we got to recognise the magnitude of this. It is huge. Huge, huge, huge. And as I said, whether you're a royalist or not, you've got to recognise that. You can't just look on it and say, why?
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out a lot more in the coming days, and every time I refresh Twitter, there seems to be an update. So when they come, we will bring them on this channel. And thank you to everyone who sent in their comments. And is there any super chats we've We've got one from Mark there at the end.
Mark T. Diego Costa has just signed for Wolves until the end of the season. Should Rob Holding be worried? He said, laughing emoji. Saliba will deal with him. Don't worry about that. Saliba will handle him.
Diego
Probably
Costa
be a fight.
back in the Premier League will be interesting.
Yeah, Stephen Ayres says, should have finished 4th, then no problem.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
And Blinker said, what did he say? Do you think we might end up having to concede the 3 points in Europa League? Oh, I think I did that one already.
Just to explore that very, very quickly. No, I don't, because...
No, they'll play the game.
Because it wasn't Arsenal's doing, if that makes sense. With Spurs, while I thought that was slightly unfair on Spurs, obviously because they had the COVID cases, they had to get that game postponed and then ultimately cancelled, they conceded the 3 points. It was very much as... I'm not saying this is right, but it was seen as Spurs' issue, if that makes sense. Listen, I'm an Arsenal fan.
It's a bit of a different circumstance.
Yeah, it didn't feel fair.
Sam says, will Arsenal's women's game against Brighton women go ahead on Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. at Boreham Wood? Is sold out. I would presume it will. I think
I read that it is. Yeah.
Yeah, games like that will go ahead. I think we have to understand that, it's the big ones. Like, this game against PSV was sold out. PSV are a very, very well supported team. They was expecting over 3,000 PSV fans, probably more, coming with no tickets as well. And the police have just said, no, too difficult to police. So we'll cancel that one. That's what it boils down to. You know what, before we end here, it's crazy times, James. I've never seen so many disruptions to football that what I've seen over the past few years. COVID, no games, seasons behind closed doors. Now this on top of it, I mean, wow.
Yeah, and the pandemic was a very difficult time. And I think actually, maybe we didn't applaud football and the governing bodies involved enough for, the way they brought that back and brought it back safely, and were able to get football on our channels, give people who were in lockdown, a lot of people really struggling during that time, were able to. And listen, not everyone's a football fan, may I say, but a lot of people are, and those people got their sport back. They managed to get other sports. Remember, the US Open went on behind closed doors and other things, and massive credit to them. And I've got no doubt they're doing everything they can to make this as safe and as fair as possible. We feel frustrated, and I'm not saying that they haven't made mistakes, but we're going to find out a lot more. We're going to see how this impacts Arsenal going forward. There's no doubt, on a pure footballing level, it impacts Arsenal massively. It's one thing having a tight September and October, but it all being kind of spread out over the 2 months, and you plan for it, and you know that when the transfer window ends and all that. What Arsenal have now is to negotiate 3 weeks of nothing, and then you're back into such a crunch schedule. That's challenging for Arteta. That's turning the tap off and then turning it on again. That's going to be difficult. So we'll see, and I'm sure we'll discuss it and debate it on this channel. And
I saw the Athletic, by the way, saying that Chelsea's home game against Red Bull Salzburg on Wednesday is set to go ahead, but their Premier League fixture against Liverpool on Sunday is expected to be postponed. That's what they're saying.
I'm going to do my research after the show and really find out why that is. What you think the Liverpool game would be easier to run than Wednesday's game, but is it the distance from it? Is it that maybe you mentioned all these people are going to fly in from around the world? I mean, is it that they're expected to come on Thursday and Friday? I mean, that might be it. They might say, well, listen, I was coming from Wednesday. I've got no idea. Sorry, I know that I've spent a million times on this stream, but I have no idea, because I'm not going to pretend I know something I don't. But we are sort of getting info all the time, and we'll keep updating.
A couple more super chats before we go. Oz Live says update schedule and extend the season by 1 week to cater for the missed games. Then ask the Champions League, the UEFA League and PSV to reverse Thursday's game or move the Carabao Cup games forward. And John Rahman says, I don't think you even have behind closed door games, because maybe the away fans will be making noises outside the stadium, as well as maybe even the home fans. That is true, is that those fans now who may have travelled from PSV, who still could be here, still could turn up outside the ground, that's a problem.
Did someone just mention bringing EFL Cup forward? I mean, that'd be very interesting. Imagine. Actually, that couldn't be done, could it? No, you couldn't do that. I was going to imagine you call up Brighton and say, yes, in Brighton, do you fancy getting it done on Wednesday night? I mean...
Yeah, and then Brighton say, actually, no, we don't fancy that. We fancy playing exactly.
Yeah, now we're all right.
Why should we do Arsenal any favours?
We're too busy trying to replace Graham Potter.
Yeah, we want to play it on exactly the same date we planned to play it originally.
Yeah, that can work. Right, okay, we're going to leave it there, guys. Thank you for your comments, thank you for your super chats, and joining us in this discussion. As I've said a few times now, Robbie and I will be keeping you guys updated on what goes on. So any updates, we'll be live here on AFTV to discuss them. But that is the news, that Arsenal's game against PSV has been postponed. We don't know till when, but we know that the game on Thursday night won't be going ahead. It is due to policing reasons, and at the moment the Brentford game is in doubt as well, but we don't have any confirmation around that. So again, we will let you know as we find it out, as all of you find out, and we'll be discussing it as well. All right, Robbie, big thanks for joining me. Check out the Bars Premier League show, which is out on the channel now. How was it? Was it good fun? Yeah, as always.
Well, not much football to talk about, but always good fun.
Yeah, but you have Ty and White Yardie. That's going to be...
Yeah, Ty with his experiences of what he had over in Zurich. No, it was a good show.
Yeah, cool. Guys, go enjoy that, and we'll see you soon.